This conference will now be recorded.
So we want to thank Morgan Lavender for providing this update for us. I know we've also got Elizabeth Barnett on this call. We just thought this could be some additional information that might be beneficial to business owners while we're working through all of the different types of assistance. I did get a call this morning that the Paycheck Protection Program loan has been fully extended at this point. Hopefully we'll have some updates on that very soon and some new funds being pushed out for that. So we just felt like it was really important to kind of lay out a even broader, bigger picture about, how wise ways that you can manage your money. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Miss Morgan Lavender.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so thankful to be here via web conference. Some of you I can see, those of you that I can't, good morning. I want to thank the Chamber first for providing so much information regarding all the changes and ways that businesses need help, and really being the trusted source and making it simple and easy to get to information for us that, again, is from a trusted source during this uncertain time. So I know we'll all get through it and we'll be better for it. I do want to add, this is my disclaimer up front, that this is not a market outlook webinar. If you've been watching the market, you know that things have been difficult. It also is not endorsing an investment or any fund performance or anything like that. This is a broad scope at kind of what we're hearing in the industry of ways that you can use your investments to maybe help through financial hardship as a business, as an individual. It may be that you know these things that you can help and share with your employees. It may help your parents or somebody in your family. So that's kind of the approach that we wanted to have. So again, there's very broad language. This is a webinar that was provided by my financial services department that I watched last week, and I did add a little bit to it regarding the Secure Act and then some student loan updates and information. So just getting that out there. So we're going to start talking about the Secure Act. This is not working. There we go. Okay. So as you know, in January, the Secure Act passed, and it did make some changes to some things in the industry. So if you're familiar, I don't think any of us are probably in this age bracket yet, but it did defer. You can defer your required minimum distribution, which is just money the IRS makes you take at a certain age. You can delay that from age 70.5 to age 72. And you're going to see something in the CARES Act that is waived this year because of the coronavirus. But this applies to those that are not currently taking money. Individuals born on or later will fall under the new 72 rule. And so, distributions taken in 2020 will be based on the account value of last year. So how is this beneficial? Well, when the market was at an all-time high at the end of the year, meaning the account owners are going to have to take a larger value because their account value is up. So your asset is diminished, and that's going to require to satisfy the RMD and pay necessary taxes. So this helps people kind of defer that, taking that money when your IRA value is down. So that's how that can be beneficial. Again, this is the Secure Act. So this was passed in January. This has nothing to do with the coronavirus. But again, these may be some things that help you going forward, not just this year. It may help one of your parents or, again, an employee that you're counseling, just some ways that they can have some financial relief. Student loan repayment using 529 plans. Individuals can withdraw up to $10,000 from the 529 plans to make student loan payments. So that can be beneficial for those who use loans to cover expenses that don't qualify under normal 529 regulations. And then there are going to be some things toward the end regarding deferral of payments. Penalty-free withdrawals for new parents within a year of the birth or adoption of a child. Parents can take up to $5,000 from an IRA or retirement plan to cover related expenses without that penalty. Again, nothing to do with the virus. These are just some things that I thought may help yourself, somebody in your family, or an employee that you may can direct them if they're looking for financial assistance. So we're probably all aware that the new deadline for filing income tax returns is July 15th. Federal income tax payments. You can also defer making traditional, or you have until the 15th to make traditional and Roth IRA contributions for the 2019 tax year. That does apply to health savings accounts and education savings accounts. So Alabama, the state of Alabama is deferred until July 15th also. Anything where we're talking about taxes, obviously you're going to defer to your tax advisor for those questions. I know if you're not working with somebody currently, I know the chamber has a list of resources or firms and individuals that you could check into and get recommendations on. So again, this is back to that required minimum distribution. Again, many of us are not in that phase, but you may have parents that are. You may have people that are still working for you that are this age. So no distributions in 2020, and this applies to employer plans, IRAs, and inherited IRAs. You know, an inherited IRA is different from spousal relationship. You know, if my husband passed away, I can assume ownership of the account, but if my mother passed away, that's going to be a different setup. So that's where an inherited IRA would come into play. You do need to contact your financial services provider to stop this. It isn't automatic. What we're hearing is they're going to go out as normal. It's on you to call and say, hey, please don't send me this for this year. And you're going to see in a lot of this, it's going to be up to the individual to keep track of things, to initiate. So again, very broad language on some of this. If you've already received a distribution in 2020, you could do a 60-day rollover, which is if you've already received it, you can send it back. Now remember, with an indirect rollover, you can have one every 12 months. So if you've already done something of that nature in the past 12 months, this would not be applicable, but keep that in mind. You can put it back if it's already been sent. Inherited IRA, RMDs, they're not eligible for that 60-day rollover. So again, that's that relationship if you've inherited something from, you know, a parent, aunt, uncle, something of that nature. Qualified charitable distributions are still available. So, you know, if you're sending money to your church or, you know, nonprofit or charitable organization, that is obviously, you can still do that this year. So, beneficiaries receiving money under the old 5-year rule, 2020 doesn't count. They get an extra year. Again, this is for an example. If someone died in 2018, the original 5-year deadline was 12/31/23. That would they get an extra year to have that money out, and so that just means that distributions had to be taken within those 5-year period, and then they're taxed in that year. So, but there was a change to the new 10-year rule under the Secure Act. And again, if you guys want more information, like a brief summary on some of the financial changes in the Secure Act, I can get that to you. Anything that I'm not putting up here, I'm keeping this very simple. I find that that's easier to process, and then there'll be ways that you can access more information. But again, a lot of this is going to be, you're going to have to contact your financial institution or your advisor where your money's being held and have them maybe direct you as to what route you need to take. But I'm just going to read you from the Secure Act what that means. So just for you out there wondering what I'm talking about with this 10-year rule. The elimination of the inherited stretch IRA option for many beneficiaries. The Act eliminates stretch IRA option for non-spouse beneficiaries, and that option will be replaced by a 10-year payout period for most beneficiaries. Again, I can email this to you. This may apply to some of you if you've inherited an IRA from a family member. The entire account has to be distributed by December 31st of the 10th year following the death of the account owner. So that's under the Secure Act. That's not anything to do with what's going on right now. So these are just, again, some things I wanted you to know that happened this year also. So here's the very broad, I guess vague, coronavirus related distributions. So it's going to be up to the individual to certify if they are eligible, okay? not your financial services provider, not your advisor. It's you have got to keep your documentation and prove that you've been affected. So obviously, if you, your spouse, or dependent is diagnosed with COVID-19, obviously you would be an affected individual. Here's where I see the large, very broad gray area. Who experiences adverse financial consequences as a result of being quarantined, being furloughed or laid off, or having work hours reduced due to such virus or disease, being unable to work due to lack of child care due to such virus or disease, closing or reducing hours of a business owned or operated by the individual due to such virus or disease, or other factors as determined by the Secretary of the Treasury. So sounds like pretty much anybody for the most part, I would assume. I think we've all suffered, some kind of effect from this, whether it be people coming in your business doors, they can't come in, your production is down, clients, you're having to come up with innovative ways to meet with people like what we're doing now. And they might not want to come in. A lot of people, they're not computer savvy, or they don't want to do it this way. They want to be face to face, and they're just not going to come in right now. And you don't want them to. So I think, again, it sounds like most anybody that's had a financial hardship could be deemed in financial. Obviously, this would apply. But again, it's up to you to certify that you're eligible. So affected individuals may withdraw up to $10,000 from all IRAs and employer-sponsored retirement plans, and that's the combined total, okay? It does not apply to non-qualified annuities, which is just after-tax money. It's only 2020 withdrawals. It is taxable, but there is no 10% penalty, and that's even if you're under 59.5, which is the magic number to waive the penalty. 10% default withholding, but you can withhold more or less. So where this is going to be a little different, if you took a withdrawal from your 401k, there's a flat 20% automatic withholding. The individual could actually go in and claim zero withholding if they wanted to. So there's a little bit of there's going to be some flexibility there. So again, you're going to be getting more money up front. And the taxable amount can be spread over 3 tax years. Again, you have to keep track of this. This would be very last case scenario to me if you needed the money, would be to take this route. But the money could be repaid or rolled over the 3-year period without regard to annual contribution limit for what the IRS the maximum that they'll typically allow you to put in. So for example, if I took $50,000 out of my 401k over a 3-year period, I could put it back into an IRA. You could do it all at once or in pieces, but you put it back in and you can, those taxes would not be applicable. But what we're hearing with, so it's kind of like a indirect rollover with a 3-year window. So you've got to get it back in during that time period. But as far as the tax filing process, no guidance on the IRS on how to do that. So again, I think we're going to be relying on our tax advisors to really guide us in that direction. And I think kind of from what we're hearing from them too, is there's still a lot of broad language about how things are supposed to be done. So again, with this being so new, there's still a lot that's not been told. It is the individual's responsibility. I know I keep saying that, but that again, if you go this route, please remember that you've got to be diligent on keeping track of what you're doing, and it will be up to you. It is the individual's responsibility to report to the IRS and claim the 10% penalty exemption on the income tax return. So qualified plans such as the 401k and 403b may require a plan amendment. So if people are asking, if they call and say, can I take this from my plan? You need to check with your employer first, because it may not be set up for it. It's not an automatic provision. So again, you're still having to contact your financial services provider, the person that holds the funds, as to is this available? If so, what route do I need to go? And again, everything with taxes is going to be state specific. But if you think about this, you know, when I said this would be a last case scenario if I needed financial assistance, you know, when you're saving for retirement, you have a long-term goal, and then taking a large chunk withdrawal right now could really derail that. And if you've all are in the market, or you know, your retirement plan, you've probably seen that they've taken a big hit. If you do keep up with that or with the news at all, it isn't really the best time for a big withdrawal because your account value is down. So it could have serious long-term consequences taking out a big chunk right now. So again, just be mindful of that. So here's something that Heather and I thought we should add in here. Again, this may not be applicable to you, but you may have a child, grandchild, an employee that you know that has children that this could be of help to. And I really just copied and pasted what I had on the email. A 0% interest rate. They changed the interest rate on the loans to 0% for the period March 13th through September 30th. During this period, you won't be charged interest on your loans. Administrative forbearance, we place the loans identified and is at administrative forbearance through the period March 13th through September 30th. During this period, they won't be required to make monthly payments. If your payments are made through auto debit, those debits will not occur while the forbearance is in place, and they'll report you as current to credit reporting agencies, so it's not going to affect that. Although you may not be required to make monthly payments during the specific period, payments you would have been required to make will count toward loan forgiveness provided all other qualifying factors are met. Again, we're hearing you need to contact your loan provider, which I've put some resources down there on the bottom there, and a phone number. And again, if you go to the Department of Education's website, ed.gov, it has some links there and some relative information that they have up. It's important to understand that the provisions of the CARES Act that affect student federal loans they're only temporary. The changes to your federal student loans that we explained will end September 30th, 2020. So here's, again, the interest rate or status apply only to your federally owned loans. So again, you'll need to contact the services of your loan provider to discuss potential relief options. So they're adding all kind of ways that they're trying to help people financially, not only by being able to access your investments. There is another thing that I didn't put on the slide that I wanted to mention. If you're a business owner and you have a retirement plan for your employees, you may want to contact your plan provider. There could be some situations where you can waive your contributions or change the percentage that you're maybe matching. So that may be something that could help you again if you're incurring financial hardship, is to maybe stop what you're matching or lower what you are. And so I would contact your provider to discuss if that is an option and how you would go about that. Also, on the topic of, I got an email this morning about our company they're going to be extending grace periods for payments on insurance products to adhere with what state insurance guidelines are doing. So if you have, if you're paying for maybe a group life plan, or again, you have personal life or disability or certain types of insurances, I'm not talking about your auto and home. However, you may want to contact them too if it is into that financial hardship that you do need some assistance and just can't make the payment right now. But what we're hearing, they're going to be extending grace periods for policies from March 1st through May 31st. Again, that is not you don't have to pay. We're just going to let you defer when you're making payments and not having to go through normal reinstatement and things of that nature to get that certificate back up and current. It'll almost be like where you left off. So again, reach out to these companies. If there's any resources that I could get for you, I know Elizabeth's on the call too. I'm sure she'd be glad to help. Again, we don't have all the answers. Language has been very broad, but I think just knowing that you have access to money that you have without penalty, if needed, is valuable. Again, I think that would be a last resort, unless it was just financially, you couldn't help it. So if there's anything that I can send you, if you want a copy of the Secure Act and what changes summary, I'll be glad to send it to you. If you'd like a copy of this PowerPoint or anything else maybe I didn't cover that you might want more information on, if I don't know, I will be glad to try to find and get it for you. So again, I want to thank you again. It wasn't meant to be an investment or market outlook. I'm just going to hope things get better. But again, stay the course. I think that we'll all come out okay and come out better on the other end. But I'm going to tell Heather, thank you. I don't know if Elizabeth's on this call. Is there anything that you'd like to add that I didn't cover?
And if anybody has any questions right now, you can enter them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself right now if you do have a question you'd like to ask. Elizabeth posted that you did a good job, Morgan.
Well, thank you. This was meant, guys, to not be very information heavy. It was just to let you know the basics that are out there. There is help available if you do have these types of accounts. And but again, you're going to need to contact that individual company. Your advisor could probably direct you, and honestly, your advisor or your financial services professional is probably going to have to call the company too, because we can't make that call either. Again, what we're being sent is just kind of broad too, because this is just so new and everybody's trying to find a way to navigate and make it out on the other end. So if there's something we don't know, we'll ask and we'll find any information, and we'll continue to share with Heather any industry related topics and information that may be helpful to your business, to you as an individual, and to people in your family. So again, I hope, did anybody have any questions? Is anybody?
No, Elizabeth said that she tried to chime in, but her mic's not working. But I do want to add, if you missed the beginning of it, I saw we had some people that came in kind of after we had gotten started. If you missed the beginning, we are recording this. It's going to be posted on our website at EtowahChamber.org/COVID-19, no dash, just COVID-19. We have all of our recorded webinars posted there that we've offered since this all began. Elizabeth said she'd be happy to help anybody with questions, as well as Morgan. I'm sure all of our folks that work in the finance industry, they're doing everything they can to stay on top of this so they can make sure that they take the best care they possibly can of their clients. We appreciate both of you ladies, but thanks so much for putting this presentation together, Morgan. We hope you all stay safe and well, and any webinars that we provide, any invites you get to any webinars that we're providing right now, please know you're completely welcome to forward those. We're providing these services regardless of membership. We feel like it's important to make sure all businesses in our community have all the information they can possibly have to inform their decision making during this especially difficult time. So once this is posted, you can feel free to forward as you would like as well. So if no one has any questions, we'll conclude this event. Thank you again, Morgan.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Stay safe.